it family dynamic, loyalty. I even called it, maybe it wasn't that bad, but it was. It was that bad. I became a master of suppressing my truth, so much that I lost who I was. As a young adult, my triggers brought on strings of unimaginable emotions that started in smiles and often ended in rage. I would disappear and get lost in the illusion of avoiding trauma, earning approval and perfectionism and people-pleasing just to feel enough. But beneath that mask lived someone who felt abandoned, alone, and terrified to be vulnerable and real, because rejection ultimately meant death. And if I'm honest, my whole life had been a series of rejections. I didn't want anyone to know how broken I felt inside. Until one day I realized I had rejected myself and I had not chosen me. That was the day I took my power back. I stopped outsourcing my safety and I reclaimed my authority. I am no longer a prisoner to my past, and I am in control of my thoughts, take responsibility for my behaviors, honor my emotions, and stand firm in how I show up in the world. I refuse to die with my brilliance buried under secrets that were never mine to carry. I share this not for sympathy or spectacle, but for the ones reading, scrolling, and silently screaming inside their souls. I share this to give a voice to the silenced, a strategy for the stuck, and permission to anyone who knows deep down that there's more. Today, I am safe, healed, and strong, and now I teach others how to do the same. To activate their power, live emotionally branded from their healed scars, and to step into full mastery of their own voice with visibility and value. Because the world doesn't need more silence, it needs more truth. Because it needs people who are done performing and finally ready to live and lead from within. And that's why this book exists. Not to impress or to perform, but to empower. To hand the mic back to every person who has ever felt muted, minimized, or made to question their authenticity. This is your invitation to grow. Not just with resilience, but with emotional mastery. To become the self-led leader of your life, to rebuild from truth, not trauma, to create impact, internal alignment, and a deep freedom without sacrificing your soul in the process. This book is your blueprint back to you. Back to your voice, back to your power, back to the version of you that was never broken, just buried. Chapter 1, answering the call of your authority. There comes a moment when your soul whispers, no more. No more shrinking, no more pretending, no more surviving systems that were never built to see you, protect you, or let you thrive. That moment, it brought you here. This isn't just a self-help book or a program or a workbook. This is a homecoming. This is a sacred blueprint for those who are done performing and ready to live from presence, not pain. I wrote this for the person sitting in the stillness of a hard truth, the one who knows there's more to them than what the world sees, the soul who is tired of talking and ready to do the work. Not to fix yourself, but to lead yourself. Because when you finally understand that the only two things you'll ever truly control are your thoughts and your behaviors, everything in life changes. You stop spinning and you start choosing. You stop performing and you start leading. And that, my friend, is what this journey is about. I won't hold your hand and I won't coddle your inner saboteur. But I will show you how to listen to yourself, how to coach yourself, and how to develop mastery over the parts of you that were once reactive, confused or emotionally hijacked, because what you are holding is a reckoning disguised as a resource. Inside these pages, you'll find a combination of deeply lived experience, trauma-informed insights, practical life tools, journal prompts, self-counseling techniques, and nervous system strategies designed to guide you towards your own authority. Not the kind that the world hands out, but the kind that rises from within. I've taken what I've learned through decades of healing and distilled it into a process that will challenge your beliefs, expose your patterns, and gift you the clarity to choose differently. I teach not from perfection, but from practice. This book is your companion as you build real emotional regulation skills, cultivate self-leadership instead of self-sabotage, create integrity between your values and your voice, and deepen your relationships by first deepening your relationship with you. I am not your therapist, and I am not here to save you, but I am here to remind you of your power and to help you reclaim it. So, if you're ready to be honest with yourself in clarity, presence, and soul-rooted discipline, then turn the page.
Thank you very much, Jessica. That was beautifully written and beautifully read. Nice job. All right, Stephanie. Stephanie Andre teaches a full range of humanities courses at COCC. She earned her bachelor's degree in English literature at the University of Notre Dame and her master's degree in English literature at Rutgers University. Stephanie enjoys providing an engaging and supporting environment for students as they learn. Stephanie says, I love facilitating conversations during class meetings and helping students develop their voice and their skills in argumentation. And Stephanie is a dear friend of mine and a wonderful instructor, and I'm really happy to have her here. And let's welcome Stephanie.
I don't remember writing it, but okay, sure. All right. I think I have maybe one other thing that I'm going to send to you, Mike. Then don't know what should be.
I'm learning through this process how much Becca at the library did for us. Got to get the COCC IT folks on board here.
I can also help you. I mean, maybe not today with the owl, but I think there's a power button on there somewhere. But yeah, I can help you if you want.
I've had bad experiences with owls,
Oh, really?
You mean real owls?
like real owls.
Oh, I thought you meant that owl.
That's an owl.
All right, I know the camera is here. The slides are over there and I don't have a clicker, so I'm gonna probably be going back and forth. And here we are, synthesis and the creative nonfiction writer. I wasn't sure exactly who was gonna be here or what kind of writing you all do, but I went with the creative nonfiction and we can talk about other kinds of writing if we need to. All right, so what I'd love to do today, I'd love to define synthesis, which probably we all know, how it's applied to creative nonfiction. I'd love to go into at least 2 different kinds of synthesis and discuss some examples, and then I'd love to have us do a writing exercise. I don't know if that, I tend to overplan, so hopefully we'll get through all of it, and if not, then no worries. So synthesis is just combining ideas from different areas. So if you are writing a paper, and probably you all don't write papers because you're not students anymore, but if you're writing a paper, you have source A is talking about this problem, and then you have source B talking about here's this thing that everyone should try and it would make their lives better. Synthesizing them could be to say, I'm going to take the solution discussed by source B and apply it. I'm going to read the problem that this first person talked about and discuss how this could solve that. That makes sense. So that's mostly what I talk about, because mostly what I do teach is composition courses, but I have taught creative nonfiction. It's just been a while. So applying this to creative nonfiction, well, all this other stuff I forgot to say that was on here. Your goal is always to say something new. And I'd say probably no matter what you're writing, whether it's a paper, a fictional story, creative nonfiction, a poem, you're usually contributing something to some kind of ongoing conversation about some topic. And when you're combining ideas or combining concepts or whatever, you're always needing to say something new. And I'm gonna go back to my slides. And then applying this to creative nonfiction. One type would be applying it to fiction writing. So taking elements of fiction, taking techniques and characteristics of fiction, things like plot, things like characterization, just anything you might think of. We've all read novels at some point in our lives and short stories. You would say, oh, I need to apply this to whatever story I might be wanting to tell about myself. I don't know how many of you are professional writers. I actually think I've been to one meeting several years ago, and I don't even know if it was really a meeting like this. It was a workshop, and I don't remember what the workshop was about. And then I thought back, and I thought, were the people that I was with, were they professional writers? Who were they? I don't remember who they were. So maybe it was some of you. So anyway, preparing this talk, I was thinking, well, who's my audience? I don't quite know, but I'll just kind of, I'll do this, and then we'll see where we go from there. Yeah. Anything you might think of fiction writing, you could apply that to creative nonfiction, and it helps you to have a story that actually reads more like a story or reads more like a novel and doesn't read like a diary entry or doesn't read like a kind of a log book or kind of a list like this happened to me, then this, then this, then this, then this, which can be engaging to read for ourselves because we were there and we experienced it. But someone who's outside of the experience might go, oh my gosh, like this is a laundry list of all the things that happened and I don't care about all the things that happened. What's the plot? What's the theme? Like that's what they would want to know. What's the word? Where's the symbolism, they might ask. So there's this. And then I think the next thing I went into was research as another type of synthesis. And again, if we're writing papers, research sounds like, oh my gosh, you want me to turn my story into something super boring and you want me to analyze quotes and all that kind of stuff. You actually don't need to do that for this type of synthesis for creative nonfiction. But you could be talking about things like maybe historical context, maybe things about culture, any kinds of things that might help put your story into a little bit more of a, less of a like, this is a me issue and more of a, there's kind of this larger thing that's going on, if that makes sense to you. And I know I'm kind of talking very generally, but just kind of going over the general things. And then what else did I write here? Oh, just that you need to maintain a balance, which I feel like might be common sense for us. We don't want to just have a lot of research that does then turn into a research paper. And we don't want to just have a story if we're wanting to include some of that research. Yeah, so we want to be thinking the whole time, what's the balance I want to strike here? Do I even want to include research? It's an option for you with synthesis, but you don't need to include it if you don't want to. And then why would you include research? It can deepen your story, like I was saying. It can give you kind of a broader context. It can help people understand that you are part of something, whatever the something is, your historical moment you're living in. I mean, I have a feeling that if any of us wrote a memoir about this particular moment in American history, we probably wouldn't just talk about ourselves. We would want to situate ourselves within the historical moment. So there'd be all kinds of research we would do, although we're living in it. So maybe we wouldn't have to do a ton of research, but that's kind of what I mean, that it helps make a more engaging story, gives you a broader context. And then what this does not mean, which again, maybe we know this, maybe we don't. I didn't know all of you, so I thought I'll just put this stuff up here just in case. So we're not fictionalizing our story. If we're writing creative nonfiction, the understanding with the readers is that this is something that actually happened to you. I don't know if any of you remember that. I think it was a memoir called A Million Pieces or A Million Little Pieces or something by James Fry. Yeah. And the implicit contract that we make with our readers as people who are writing creative nonfiction is, I'm giving you my life, I'm giving you some part of my life. And they read it and think, wow, now I know all about this person. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to you. And then to violate that trust. I mean, I guess he ends up selling a lot of copies. I don't know why, but I don't know if that would happen to us, right? We violated the trust with our readers. So we don't want to fictionalize, even if we are using elements or stylistic techniques of fiction. And again, like I was saying, it does not mean that you're turning your creative nonfiction into a research paper, because that can be super boring for people who don't want to read a research paper. And going into the next one. So here's my next thing. And maybe I should have passed this out before we started, but that's okay. And I made 30 copies. Hopefully that's enough. Let me keep it here. I think when we first started, I counted 28, but now it seems like there might be more than 28 people. That's okay. And then Mike, if you want, I might maybe open the attachment on your computer. Can I do that?
Yeah, I'm sharing your screen right now. But... Oh, is the attachment just?
Yeah.
Should they be seen or they?
And I emailed it to you, so you could have it. Figure out your research together.
Oh, just know where you're from. Oh. They're stapled together now.
Well, stop sharing your screen, but I don't know where you're recording it. It's the second email I sent you. It's a scan. Okay, so what I've got here, it's one of my Christmas presents. It's a memoir called Sociopath. I started reading it. I've not read the whole thing, but I thought it would be good, since I'm talking or was talking in generalities, to try to read some creative nonfiction, and then to try to identify where we think synthesis is occurring, whether it's research. It does not have to be formal research where we would go, such and such author states, and then having quote, just any kind of anything you could identify as research, or I guess, identifying any kind of elements of fiction or storytelling that exist here. So our goal, and it's only 3 pages. It actually is only 3 pages. Or 4, I guess, according to the numbers. Sorry. I don't do talks like this a lot, so I was super nervous. And my mouth is also very dry, as with the go. I have not the allergies, but just I'm in front of people, and now my mouth is suddenly very dry. But anyway.
Relax.
Taking a deep breath.
Get some water.
Taking a deep breath. I would love for us to spend some time reading this, and maybe we could have a brief discussion. And it's almost 6:15, so we could take some time to read it. And then after that, I'd love to have us write.
You're doing way better than I did.
You did great. Felt so. How much time do you all need or want to read this before I go to your question? Would 10 minutes be okay to read this? Okay. And then, sorry, what was your question?
If you don't have a copy to read, but we.
How many of you do not have a copy? 1, 2, see 2 people with their hands up that don't have a copy. Anyone else? All right, so what I'll do, I have this extra copy, but I'm going to make a copy of it, and I will come back. And I'll make 5 copies, just in case there's someone who didn't raise their hand who needs a copy. I will be right back.
Hi there. This seminar is not as interesting as I thought it was, so I'll join you for dinner whenever you want to have it. Yeah? In February? Yeah? Uh-huh.
Could the admin mute Ted, please?
Sorry. Okay. That was the conference call which suddenly increased in volume. I don't know why. Anyhow,
Ted, you're unmuted.
no.
Well, it ends in the middle of a sentence.
I think you're going to the next page.
No. Excuse me. So this ends in the middle of the sentence and that, right,
Oh,
I don't know where it goes to.
I think just ignore that sentence. We're not really looking for the story right now. So I'd say the looking started early for me as a child while other kids in let's ignore that sentence because I went away from the introduction and went directly to the next chapter. Otherwise, I thought I'd end up making a copy for you that was about 10 pages. The introduction's very
Now
good.
then we start with chapter 1.
Yes. And then I believe even that, on page 5, it ends very suddenly. Once the box is empty, comma, and you never find out, and you see 5 as well. So all we're looking at in this excerpt is just synthesis. And then if we want to find out more about her story, I guess unfortunately we have to buy her memoir. We pass this down to that general case. Is there anyone else who needs some copies?
Folks at home, if you go to the website and you go to the landing page right underneath where Stephanie's presentation is, there's a PDF on the website right now.
Do you need me to write anything in chat? Tell them that they're
Yeah.
okay. Did you need a copy? Oh, okay. think we've been reading for about 7 minutes. For anyone who might still be reading, how much more time would you like to read? 2 more minutes? Okay. Oh,
I need to go home.
oh. Seems to be full of colored pencils, but maybe that's it. You're welcome. Would anyone else like to borrow either a pen or a pencil or colored pencil? Sorry, go ahead.
Just as you're talking, just kind of try and stay near that.
Can you hear me?
They just online, they said when you're wandering away.
Oh, okay. All right. Sharpie. All right, I think it's been 2 minutes. This is not my strong suit. Looking,
Fine.
keeping track of time, yeah. All right. I guess just in general, I know that it's cut off in 2 different places, but what do you think so far? Got some nods, which maybe is good, maybe bad. All right. How is she? I guess I would just ask, how is she using synthesis anywhere? Yes, ma'am, go ahead, in the yellow jacket.
She's kind of holding between her own personal memories and like between times she's like asked her mom something or things she's done. She gives specific examples of like, she doesn't just say, oh yeah, I used to steal things. She mentions like kind of a lot of different instances and how it was perceived each time.
Yeah, I like that. So showing, not just telling, which is part of the reason I kind of cut off in the introduction, because there's a lot of telling in the introduction. The introduction is really good, but it's also just a lot of telling. But yeah, thank you. What was your name? I'm sorry.
Sophia.
Sophia, thank you, Sophia. And then I think you had your hand up as well.
Yeah, she borrows research. She talks about the number of sociopaths in the culture. She uses words from psychology like narcissism. So she's pulling in details like that.
Yeah, thank you so much. What's your name?
Carol.
Carol. Thank you, Carol. Is there anything else people want to add? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, she has a major synthesis to create between how other people feel and how she feels. So it's like a dichotomy that splits her life in half, and she can't make that synthesis. So her whole story is about a synthesis that she would like to make but can't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of like if you were to sum up the tension in what she's writing, that's it.
Yeah.
These people feel this way, I feel this way, and I can't bridge that gap except by antisocial behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So that's the ultimate, the synthesis that is the tension.
Yes. Yeah. We've got the theme kind of pretty early on.
Yeah.
And sorry, what was your name?
Oh, Dana,
Dana. Nice
Yeah.
to meet you, Dana.
nice to meet you.
And then someone back there, go ahead, sir.
She's humanizing her disorder. I think of sociopaths as basically evil and indifferent. I don't think of them suffering from their disorder, just sort of exercising with impunity. And so to hear someone say how disturbing it is to have this disorder really grabs my attention.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I were gonna humanizing it, I guess I would say, thank you, sir. Sorry, what was your name? Jameson, thank you, Jameson. That unlike a student research paper that maybe would not be able to do as much in terms of humanizing, this person, because of writing creative nonfiction and having that freedom in that genre, is able to kind of do a bit more than what we could have done for a research paper. Yeah, thank you, Jameson. Go ahead, please, ma'am.
I have a question too, but she's listing out these items that she's stolen for the most part. So the locket, well, but also like the photo where she's with Ringo Starr that she's referencing. There's like these archivist sort of moments and things
Yes.
that I feel like should qualify somewhere as research
Oh, yeah.
in a gray world.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because some of it's like, does she have the locket now? She sort of talks about the locket like it's still around, or where I got it, you know?
Yeah.
Does that count? Yes.
Oh, yeah, I think that counts. I mean, curating, archiving things, I think that's definitely a form of research. And also helps us to figure out whether we are or are not planning to incorporate any research in our own creative writing, to think about what different forms it could take. That, oh, I could mention psychological things, as Carol had mentioned. I could maybe include dictionary definitions of things. Maybe I'm just going to be looking at different objects. And that, I mean, cultural artifacts are a thing, right? There are people who will analyze them to explain kind of what they mean, what their significance was. Why is she keeping it for so long? She's got Ringo Starr's glasses since she was a toddler. Why did she keep them for that long? It's kind of interesting. So yeah, thank you. And what was your name? I'm sorry. Shelby. Thank you, Shelby. Go ahead, please.
It's probably like a research where she's talking about she explains her symptoms. And that could be some systematic of what a claustrophobic was like or whatever. So that would be a type of research also.
Yes, yes. And still situated within a story with a theme, as Dana had mentioned, that we're pretty aware of from the beginning. And I feel like that tension, it kind of leads me to keep reading, because kind of similar to Jameson, I did see this book. I passed by it in Barnes and Noble, and I've always thought of sociopaths and psychopaths as just purely evil people, and that they hurt people, they don't care about people, like all that kind of. And it seems this author, and I'm sorry, I imagine this is a French name, and I don't know how to pronounce it, and I feel like I'll mangle it, but this person wants to change our perceptions of sociopaths in that way, and sets out to do it in a way that makes us kind of identify, although we're not sociopaths perhaps, but identify in a way of, we all have some kind of thing we might be suffering with. We all have some kind of tension, right? The only difference may be that unlike her, where she's saying these people, everyone else feels this, and I feel this, or I feel nothing. And there's that kind of tension within her all the time. I don't know that we have quite that same tension, although we all have that sense of people are all feeling this, and maybe I'm feeling the same way, or maybe not, but maybe not to the same degree as them. But yeah, thank you, Joan. Go ahead, please, ma'am.
She uses dialogue, which is very fictional technique. And so that section on page 5 is like a novel. This makes it very engaging.
Yeah, it does make it super engaging. And also you can tell a little bit, the great thing about dialogue, you can kind of characterize people a bit through the dialogue, and you get a sense of what she's like as a child. You get a sense of what her mother is like without her telling you. Yeah, it does read like a novel. What was your name?
Rachel.
Rachel, nice to meet you. I don't promise to remember people's names, but I know Dana's got a name tag on, which is great. And we've got Joan, we've got Jameson and Shelby and Carol and, ooh, hold on.
First letter's S.
Oh, I don't know.
Sophia.
Sophia. Okay, Sophia, and then we've got Rachel. Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up with the dialogue. I have a question for all of you. So I don't know how old the author is, but she's not 5 or 6 or however old she is in this dialogue. How do you all, like, how do you go about writing your own dialogue from, this dialogue may have happened 30 or 40 years ago? I get the sense maybe she possibly remembers what this said because it seems like a pretty significant confrontation, but maybe she doesn't remember. Maybe she's kind of approximating what she thinks was said, or I don't know. Just kind of asking because that's kind of a dilemma for us as people who write creative nonfiction. And I've had that kind of like, do I tell my readers that I remember the gist of what was said. I remember the gist of what this person said, what I said. Do I actually tell them, hey, I'm kind of approximating, or do I just kind of launch into it like this, where it reads like a novel and it might give the impression that I remember exactly what was said? And I know this is kind of off topic, but sorry. Go ahead, please, Sophia.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I haven't written any memoirs or anything. I think I'm a bit too young for that, but,
You're never too young to write a memoir.
just in the sense of like, I might want to wait. Yeah, I do journal, and that's been really helpful because it kind of teaches you that process of going back to your interactions and saying, what kind of stood out to me? Because a lot of like, most of what we hear, probably we forget. So it makes the stuff you remember kind of stand out to you. And sometimes like, I'll be like, oh, did I say this or did I say that? And it's kind of different things, but it's almost more interesting if you write down what you think you said rather than what you did say and say, hey, I don't know if I remember if this was accurate, or, because that can just kind of turn it into like a reflexive sort of, you're looking back a little bit and that unreliable character of memory kind of comes through there. So depending on what you're doing, like just talking about what it feels like was said in that conversation could probably be like something interesting. And other times, yeah, if it is an important moment, you will remember it. But sometimes writing something down shortly after it happened can help, and then you just have that as a reference point.
Yeah, definitely. And then I guess two things. Maybe you might want to wait, I guess, since that's what you'd like to do. But the good thing about a memoir is it isn't your whole life. It's just some incident, something that happened. So you are never too young or too old to write a memoir. And then the other thing I'm going to say, it just has gone out of my head, which is okay. Maybe it'll come back some other time. But yeah, thank you. And then I think Sheila had her hand up, and then this lady had her hand up, and someone at the back. So I'll go to Sheila first.
I was just going to say that I had a teacher who said in creative nonfiction, 85% needs to be true, but 15% you could sort of fudge. And I think dialogue
Is one of
could
the-
fall into that
Yes.
last category.
Yeah. Thank you, Sheila. That's actually, I mean, I wasn't going to give that statistic, but that was what I had. That's the other thing I wanted to say as a response to what you were saying, Sophia, that you do want to write stuff down. That can help. That would be wonderful. If you haven't written the thing down and later on you want to write about it 30 or 40 years later, then yeah, you could fudge. I think the important thing, creative nonfiction, you're trying to tell the truth about the situation. You're not going to say like this thing happened that didn't happen, or this person said this thing that maybe they didn't say. But looking back on it, memory is kind of unreliable. Yeah. Yeah. So when you're looking back, you may or may not be remembering exact things, but the important thing is you're trying to tell the truth about the situation. Thank you, Sheila.
That comes through in the writing. You know, you feel, or you don't, from the get-go, that you're in the hands of someone who's doing the best they can do to tell a truth.
Yes. Yes. And in order to feel that way, that you're in the hands of someone who's doing their best, they have to build that trust with you, which you hope they would have done from the very beginning, so that you're not questioning, are they reliable? Are they unreliable? I know in some ways they may be unreliable because we all are looking back on the past, but are they mostly reliable? And hopefully we've established, or she's established, that at the very beginning. So I think you right here in blue, I think you had your hand up before, maybe?
Jana,
Anna, nice to meet you.
When I don't have, diaries from 50 years ago, but I remember what people's voices were like in my life, and I can recreate dialogue that's feels accurate.
Yeah.
But that's kind of fun. I would never say to the reader, hey, I don't know if he said this or not, but this is what I'm gonna do. I wouldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah, just, you know, feeling the person, feeling the voice.
Getting at that truth of who that person was and conveying that with the dialogue. That's a good point. Thank you, Jana. And then I think someone back there, did you have their hand up or someone back here?
Yeah, for a minute.
Oh, please go ahead, Shelby.
Well, a few things, like, I've seen different authors treat it differently, so sometimes they'll like just quotes, right? And other times they'll do this, like, they call it when there's not full quotes.
Oh,
Older.
the apostrophes,
Where it's like, I
basically.
tried, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
yeah, so then half come into the quote. And I think I've seen, is it Mary Carr or somebody does the, just like you italicize, an author will just italicize. And I used to be like, yeah, quote it, that's how you remember it, quote it, but now I'm like, oh, no, it's not really the truth. You know, if there was a recorder in a room and somebody was like, see, I actually didn't say it, and then your whole story is like, well, shit, I was, you know, it's minute detail in the whole book. But, I don't know, I guess at this point I've just got to saying like, try to acknowledge without encumbering the story when I'm not exactly sure what the dialogue is. I won't exactly quote it, or I'll say the way I remember it is,
Yes,
just to give myself a little breathing room.
yes.
And to make it more about a person's perspective telling it and implying sort of like feeling or weight on the other side.
Yeah.
That's a little workaround I'm trying.
That's a great workaround. And I think it answers kind of some of the questions that I was raising about the dialogue. I mean, dialogue is great. And I would say that if we're writing a memoir, we should have some dialogue somewhere, especially if there are other people in the story besides us, which I would hope there would be. And yeah, if you don't remember, as Jana had said, you probably don't want to come out and say, I don't remember, but I'm just, you know, this is what I think was said. But your workaround, I think, would be good, whether it would be italicizing things, putting things in the little, they're basically apostrophes, I think,
Yeah.
or I thought the last thing you had said was, something about,
My statement, I guess.
yes, yes. Yeah, because that's really, I mean, we're not journalists, we're not trying to report. This is exactly what this person said on June 2nd, 1996. That's just not the way our memories work, unless we do maybe keep meticulous records about all of our interactions. We're really just trying to tell the truth about whatever the story is for us. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, please, Carol.
One of the things that she does to get us to trust her memory is to tell us that she doesn't remember a lot of stuff. So.
Right,
like,
that's what I was
she
thinking. This
finally
is something that
comes up
sticks
with
out.
something She recalls, it's like, ooh, that really happened.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you, Carol. Go ahead, please, sir.
So did Bruce,
Hi,
and
Bruce.
I see a similarity between our featured readers reading and this reading.
Mhm. Do
Do
you want
see
to,
it?
would you like to continue? Or you're asking if I see it? I mean, yours was about abuse, surviving abuse, and now you're helping people to kind of learn to control their emotions and understand. It sounded more like you were not going to be a therapist, but helping people become stoics is how I interpret it. Because stoicism's all about, you know, I can't control you, but I can control myself.
So I saw.
But this
it
one,
as
I don't know.
Two hidden people.
Oh, you want to keep going? You want to tell us more?
She went on for a good moment, talking about how she had hidden
Yeah.
her life, her distress, her
Mhm.
pain.
Yeah.
And this memoir talks about how she's hidden her life, her pain, her dissatisfaction, I suspect them to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great connection. Thank you, Bruce. I love that. And I definitely did not see that. Maybe if I had thought more about it, but I was thinking more of the abuse angle and wasn't sure where to go with the rest of it. So thank you for that. And then I think first, you
Yeah.
had your hand up, then I'll go back to you.
Yeah, I was just, like, the comment about she doesn't remember everything, but she remembers this. This was like this is the first time she's been called out on her behavior, it looks like, with her mother.
And so she's gonna remember pretty much the gist. She may not remember word for word, but she knows how her mother speaks and how her mother would have talked. So, because this reminds me of when I was 5, I took a pack of gum. We were going out of the grocery store, not realizing that I needed to pay for it. So I got this kind of similar out on the curb, and I had to walk back in and hand it over and apologize for not knowing I needed to have money. And it was, so I remember this sort of like, I can remember pretty much everything my mother explained to me and why this was not acceptable. So this, like, for me touches, like, it's like, okay, this is way more serious than what happened there, because I never did that again, ever. I was so embarrassed and so felt so horrible that I had stolen when I didn't realize that's what I had done. But my mother impressed upon me that that was absolutely what I had done. So now this sort of hits a chord with me. So I was like, I do remember that conversation, and I think I was 5. And we're standing out on the corner in front of the drugstore. And so I was like, so this probably made an impression on her to realize that there's definitely something not okay with this
Yeah, agreed. Okay.
behavior.
I
So,
love,
yeah.
I love that point that you've made. And it also kind of draws, I mean, the contrast between her, because she continues to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you.
no, I felt bad, but like for the next, I don't know how long going into that store, I always hold mom's hand and I look down at the floor because I was felt so bad that I had done something wrong in the store. So I remember
Yeah.
it was like stuck with me, so I remember that whole thing, but that was good. I mean, it was good that we stopped right then and addressed. Because I said, oh, mom, look what and mom's like, what are you, oh, no. We went through the whole thing and then we marched back in and I had to apologize and hand it back over and was just destroyed, over the fact that I had done something horrible that I had never thought.
What's your name? I'm sorry.
Minda.
Minda.
Yeah,
Nice to
so,
meet you.
yeah, nice to meet you. But anyway, I can see where she would probably remember a lot of the wordage.
Yeah, no, I love
The
that.
verbiage of what went on.
I love that you brought that up, because then that does make sense. And it also points, I think another thing you're kind of pointing to is just with plot, right? That there'd be some kind of climax to the story. And I don't know if this is the climax to that chapter, because I don't remember the chapter super well, but it is a significant moment,
Right.
as opposed to just kind of a log to say this happened, then that happened, then that happened, where it would be all flat. And this is kind of building up to something. Yeah. Thank you, Linda.
Now you have a short story to write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A short story, yes. This is like, oh.
Then I think there are 3 more people. So there's Dana, there's this guy back here, and there is, what's it, Bob? Oh, there are 4 more people. Is your name Bob?
It is, I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, okay. But sorry. Okay. So first I'll ask Dana to speak, and then Robbie has something, and then Jessica, I think, has something. Please go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to contrast, what's your name?
Jessica.
Jessica. Jessica had a basic humanitarian motive, right? Whereas this person is immersed in kind of a self-centered, egocentrical world, right? So I think that's whatever relationship is similar, I think they're miles apart.
Yeah. I love all these connections you all are making between Jessica's writing and. Does anyone know how to pronounce this person's last name? Because I would just say Gagne. Sorry?
Gagne.
Gagne. That's better than what I was going to say, which would have been Gagne. So Gagne, that's much prettier. Okay. Thank you, Sheila. And then I think, so thank you, Dana. And then Robbie was going to say something. And then we had Jessica. And then I did want to have you all write, but I'll go to you 2, and then maybe we'll just cut it off after Jessica, unless you all would like to continue speaking and maybe not do any writing, but you can think about it. Please, Robbie, go ahead.
Sure, I was thinking of the connection less as 2 hidden people. It was more like the reveal, where by being vulnerable, they created some authenticity. Like, these aren't things that you brag about to. You're not coming in this going, yeah, look at me, I'm cool, and sort of telling me something that's BS. Right, so when you share a vulnerability and then you're authentic about it, that creates a connection. And that, I feel, regardless of the motives or the distance between the 2, I'm not discussing that, but just the fact that, putting the truth out there in a way like this
Mhm.
sounds authentic.
Yeah.
Because you're not leading with a strength, you're leading with a, this is something I wish hadn't happened, or I don't feel anything, or like,
Yeah.
wow, geez, you're just putting it out,
Yeah.
right? Unvarnished truth. So anyhow, I felt authenticity in both of them through the vulnerability.
Oh, I love this. So we are, I guess, another part of synthesis. This is part of storytelling, but it's also part of rhetoric, right? You want to develop trust with your reader. You want to develop credibility with your reader. And I love, Robbie, that you've just pointed out another way for us to establish that trust by being vulnerable, by being authentic. So thank you. Seems, I don't know if it seems to you all whether we're on topic or off topic, but I feel like we're very much on topic. We're just not using the words. That's okay. Robbie, thank you. And then Jessica, go ahead, please.
Like I've had like a pile of things to say, so we'll figure things out, but I feel like I forget what her name is, who spoke about relating to the stealing.
Yeah,
Linda.
Linda.
Yeah, I think that's like probably a really core memory for her, but it's also an intentional choice because I think a lot of us can probably relate to like stealing something at a very young age. And she brings that relatability in to make us feel like, I think her probably whole goal in writing this wasn't self-centered. I think it was to bring empathy to people who are sociopaths. Because of the way we all tend to feel about them, as somebody else said earlier.
Yeah.
But I was gonna go back to the topic of the 15% made up. I think there's like two big camps on that. Like memoir is always in this gray area of like, where does it fall between fact and fiction? And I think like there's the Mary Card where she talks about like emotional empathy or emotional truth.
Mhm.
Like memoir just needs to be emotionally true. And then there's the sticklers for like and truth. And I think there's this weird gray area because even those memories, we think we remember them exactly how they are. If we ask our mom, she'll have to say, you remember this totally differently. And so I think that's where the memoirists have to decide, do they research by asking people for their side of that story? Do they want to include that? Do they want to say, I remember it this way, but my mom remembers it this way, and that makes it like a totally different book, but can either help or hinder your credibility.
Yeah. But that's also a great point about research, that it doesn't have to just be these kinds of outside things. Could be artifacts, personal artifacts, maybe. Could be just speaking to the people that were there in that experience with you and finding out their perspectives. And then if you wanted to include it, you could. Yeah. Thank you, Jessica.
Interesting thought experiment about the nature of memory thing.
Yeah. All right, so we have 10 minutes. That's okay. The last thing I had wanted us to do, and luckily we have 10 minutes, and this hopefully is large enough that you can see it. But now that I'm looking at it, I think I needed to enlarge the script. But just, I wanted us all to take 10 to 15 minutes to write. And I don't think we have the 15 minutes. That's okay. So either working on something that you're already writing, or I guess you could start something new right now. And then your job would be to be thinking about how would you incorporate synthesis. Maybe you're like, I can't do that in 10 minutes. Maybe what you might want to do is just make some notes for yourself. Like, these are some things that I might want to do. And the synthesis really could be anything. If you think about all the things people have mentioned in our discussion, there's so many different options. Yeah. So you could say, well, maybe I might want to do this. Maybe I want to talk to this person that I had this experience with. Maybe I want to look up some of these artifacts that I've kept that are significant to me. Or maybe I want to do this or that. Yeah. Or maybe you're thinking more in terms of like rhetoric, where you're trying to say something or persuade someone of something, and how do you build that relationship and trust with the readers, credibility with the readers. Maybe you're thinking more about, elements and style from fiction, and how would you incorporate that into your writing. Any of these things are great options. Do you feel like 10 minutes is okay? Technically, it's all you have. Do you all mind writing for the last 10 minutes? We could keep talking. You all seem like a talkative group.
I vote for talking.
I vote for writing.
Oh, for all 10 minutes. Well,
You call it.
I'll call it.
Yeah.
I might just make you all write. And then I have not spoken to anyone on Zoom. Did anyone on Zoom want to add anything? I know we had this robust discussion. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything, that group. No? That's okay if they don't. I'd say let's take the last 10 minutes to write. We don't have time for you all to share your writing with each other. I'm sorry, but I do feel like we had a great discussion that can help. I love to read other writers and read it as a writer, because then it can help me with my own writing, as opposed to just reading it for enjoyment.
Well, what do you write?
Oh, I used to write creative nonfiction, and now I write promotions letters, and I write stuff for work, lesson plans, questions for students, prompts for students. So that's what I write. I feel like I should apologize, but that's
Well,
what I write.
what kind of
Excuse me.
creative non,
Oh, sorry. Let's write. But I think Dana was wanting to talk to me, which I guess I can talk to you. If you don't mind writing, I'd say write.
so what did you, so you wrote about yourself or about situations that you were familiar with, or?
Myself and just various things that happened in my life.
Yeah, and if you were to sum it up in a couple of words, what would you say?
I would sum it up in a couple of words.
Well, maybe,
I would say that I took Jessica's advice because I was using it as therapy, and instead I got a therapist. That's how I used my writing as therapy.
And where'd you grow up?
Sorry.
Where'd you grow up?
Oh, my dad was in the Air Force, so we were in California, Delaware, Guam, Kansas, and then that's when I went to Indiana for college. And then I went to Japan, then Florida really briefly, and then Indiana, then New Jersey, and then here. So, a bunch of places. I have a feeling you don't want to write, which is okay.
I've been writing all day.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
but I could go.
It is 7 o'clock. It was good to meet all of you. I tried to speak very quietly as much as I could over here so as not to disturb you. So hopefully, I know that 10 minutes is not a lot of time for writing, but hopefully you were able to do something, whatever that might have been, and maybe it will lead to something else, something larger. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you all for coming. I'm really excited that we had this good of a turnout in our new space here. So we'll be here for at least the next 6 months and looking forward to having you back. There is snacks and coffee and fellow writers. So if you're not in a hurry to get home, stick around and chat with people. This is the community aspect of this is what's important. This is why we're all together in one room instead of taking this class online or something like that. So enjoy each other and thank you all for coming.
Where do you sign up for reading? That's what.
Mary's the one to sign up for reading here.
Anybody, going around and told me to drop me around 17 in Hartford?
Are you out of here?
Oh, sorry. So much faster. I don't write.
Yeah.
But.
Because